Welcome to today's edition of the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. I would like to increase your financial IQ with today's discussion, which will center around the best states to retire to. So I live in Connecticut, part of New England, and people often migrate after retiring. There's a few reasons for this. They move for tax reasons, cost of living reasons, weather reasons. There's a whole bunch. It's a very personal decision. I will tell you, in the state of Connecticut, the number one destination when somebody leaves Connecticut is to go to Florida. That's followed closely by North Carolina. That destination statistic doesn't only include retirees, but pretty much anyone leaving Connecticut. In the United States, there are currently 8 states with no income taxes. They are Alaska, not exactly a hotbed of retiree destinations. Florida, it's complete opposite. A lot of people want to retire and do retire to Florida. Nevada, a popular retirement destination, especially for people in California and Oregon. South Dakota, Tennessee. Tennessee has seen massive population growth over the last couple of years, especially in and around the Nashville area, but Tennessee doesn't have a state income tax either. Texas, also another state that has a lot of population growth. I don't know if I think of it necessarily as a retirement destination, but certainly a state that's attracting a lot of new people. Washington and Wyoming round out the top 8 states. There are 4 other states that have income taxes, but they try and attract retirees or retain retirees by not taxing distributions from 401ks, IRAs, pensions, etc. They are Illinois, again, not a state that many people are retiring to. It's actually a state that is declining in population. New Hampshire, the live free or die state. You see a lot of people in the Northeast migrating from Massachusetts in particular to New Hampshire for tax and cost of living reasons. Mississippi, and then Pennsylvania. Those states, again, have income taxes, but they treat distributions from 401ks, IRAs, and pensions in a very friendly manner. If you want to reduce your tax burden, you could potentially end up with more money in your pocket, meaning that your income, your nest egg, your wealth will likely be able to go farther. So that's just a quick primer of some of the best states to retire to. Next, I'd like to talk about some states that have high quality health care. Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimator estimates that a 65-year-old couple will spend on average $300,000 in their lifetime. Again, these are 65-year-olds for healthcare costs. Now, obviously, this differs tremendously from person to person, from household to household, but it can and often is a big, big chunk of money that needs to be accounted for. And when you retire, you want to have access to high quality health so that you could live longer and also have a healthier quality of life as much as you possibly can. So according to 2021 rankings by US News, Massachusetts has the best healthcare system, followed by Connecticut and New Jersey. That's interesting because those are 3 states where you see a lot of migration out. I talked about Connecticut at the top of the show, so I find that interesting. That's one way to look at it. US News looked at healthcare access, overall quality, and overall public health. Another way to look at it is just the pure number of hospitals. The state with the largest number of hospitals, as of 2020 at least, was Texas with around 369. Followed by California with about 339, and Florida with 219. So I think this is part of the reason why Florida, as an example, has become a very top pick for retirees, because you get good weather. Cost of living tends to be less expensive than a lot of places, especially those places where people are migrating from, and no income tax. It's really a nice trio. And then when you look at healthcare, Florida has quite a number of hospitals. I don't think historically they've had a great reputation in healthcare. That's my personal observation. But I do think that they've come a long way. My parents live in the Villages in north central Florida, and that healthcare system in and around that area has improved a lot, including the 8 years or so since I established an office in that area. I think as we move along, just some other thoughts is a lot of people want to retire near major international airports because for a lot of people when they retire, travel is an important item on their, if you will, bucket list. So being in and around an airport probably makes sense. You have some major hubs like in Atlanta, LA, Chicago, but lots of other regional international airports have lots and lots of attractive flights. You know, going back to Florida, you have Orlando International Airport. In New Hampshire, you're not far from Logan. There's a lot of airports today where you could get attractive flights to destinations that you may want to travel to. A lot of people don't necessarily want to be 2, 3, 4 hours or longer from airports because they want to travel either for leisure or for easy access to get back to family and friends and maybe where they came from. And then weather, of course, that's a consideration when people retire. It's part of the migration from the north, the Northeast, Michigan, Wisconsin, and the like to warmer climates in retirement. You have a lot of warm states in the country, not just in the southeast, but also Texas, Arizona, Nevada, and the like. But that's often a consideration. People often don't want to deal with the winter and the cold as they age. And as a 52-year-old, I could see why. I really don't like winters anymore. So that is a quick snapshot of the best states to retire. Our financial planning practice here at Elliott Wealth Management, we have clients in about 25 states. So we do business in a lot of areas of the country. So we see all kinds of migration. There is not a one size fits all. I'm thinking of Linda. I don't know if you're listening to this episode, is the only client I've worked with probably in the last 20 years that retired to Maine. And that has really worked for her and her husband, who's since passed on. So there's no one single solution. But I thought I would cover some of these best states to retire, especially on the tax front, which is often central to the money part of the decision-making process. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check out our website, www.elliottwealth.com, and subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already. I'd appreciate that a lot. I'll be back with you on the next episode of the Simply Financial Podcast very soon. Thanks for listening today.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.